Welcome back to the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. Guys, hope everybody's doing well today. Hope everybody's doing well. Holding steady. Bitcoin dead, 92.2K. Yeah, that's right. It's over. I was in a chat last night, heard a whole lot of bearish stuff, guys. Whole lot of people are freaking bearish, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. Yep. Make fun of me, call me a hopium dealer, but I don't care. I'm just not feeling the exuberance yet. So yeah, I think we're staying the course. Got a few. Got a new viewer. Hey, welcome, French Hodl. Very cool. Thank you very much. And of course, guys, let's take a look at what we are going to dive into today. So the hopium innovation exception. That's right. Sorry, the innovation exemption. Paul Atkins, SEC chair. He's setting the stage. We're going to see what he's talking about. Harvard. They bought so many shares of the ETFs. And of course, right, mainstream media taking advantage of the fact that they could kick Harvard while they're down, even though Harvard hasn't actually sold their Bitcoin. And yeah, we're going to take a look at that story because guess what? It's a giant nothing burger. Eternal paper Bitcoin, MSTR, CEP. That's right. We've got some fail. Yearn and Binance Jr. Ugh. Yeah, that's right, guys. They're trying to make everybody. They're trying to make everybody a degenerate gambler in the casino, and we're going to make fun of that. And of course, we've got some solid news out of the UK about property rights regarding Bitcoin and crypto. We're going to dive into all this stuff, but before we do, you know the deal. Going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we're going to be right back. Let's freaking do it. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, let's take a look at what SEC Chair Paul Atkins had to say about this innovation exemption. It's phenomenal, right, that we have to create rules like this.
I think that can happen before the end of the year.
Well, we'll see. We're working with Congress, and we're providing what we call technical assistance to them regarding legislation to make sure that they're staying on what makes sense and that meshes with other laws and whatnot. And we'll see. I can't prognosticate that, but we have enough authority to drive forward. I'm looking forward to having an innovation exemption that we've been talking about now.
Okay.
We'll be able to get that out in a month or so is what I'm hoping. We were impeded a bit by the government shutdown. Obviously, we couldn't work on things during that.
Okay, did the government shutdown delay our bull run? Is this really what's happening?
Time, but we're on track, and we will be able to forge forward with the crypto area and make sure that we are able to embrace this new area of innovation that for too long the United States basically is just pushed back against. And
All right. A little can kicking here for the bull run. So apparently, right, the government shutdown. Government shutdown is what is postponing everything. And if that's the case, then the timeline he was providing for all of that was what, like mid-February? Just in time for. It's interesting, right? We're diving into getting close to tax season. Okay. We'll see what happens there. The innovation exception. Anyway, look, it has nothing to really do with Bitcoin. This is all just stable coin and crypto crap nonsense. But look, in terms of perception and the general public, people like to see this. And I can tell you, when I did not understand Bitcoin as well as I do today, every time I would see something about regulation back in 2017, 2016, 2018, I would immediately, if it was something that was impeding Bitcoin's adoption, then I was like, okay, that's it, it's over, and I just didn't know any better. But yeah, this regulation nonsense is just stories. That's all it is. It's just stories. And unfortunately, general public pays attention to this, thinks it's real. And so, of course, right, perception is reality. On and on we go. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at some more hopium charts. Let's dive into the hopium charts here before we take a look at some Harvard cope. So yeah, investors holding Bitcoin for 1 to 3 months have suffered 20 to 25% losses for over 2 weeks, the deepest drawdown in the current cycle. Are we really crying about this? Are people really crying about this? And if you were holding for 1 to 3 months, are you really a Bitcoin hodler? Maybe you're starting to be one. Yeah, Rarson, I'm sorry, man. The clip was quiet. I'm still trying to figure out how I can boost the volume on these, on like the extra clips. Essentially, I'm using it's the standard volume that comes with the clip. I guess maybe I could try to do some some type of like finagling with the audio before the show comes on, something like that. I don't know. Try to figure it out. But yeah, that's right. Holding 1 to 3, like, what is that? What is this? This is nonsense, right? I'm like, 1 to 3 months and you're crying? Try 10 years, bro. Like, oh no, 1 to 3 months, I'm down 20%. Yeah. Cry me a frickin' river. Cry me a river. All right. So here we go, guys. We've got some bullish ratios. I like the bullish ratios. They make me feel good. Don't really understand them, but take a look. Bitcoin's market buy to sell ratio hits 1.17, the highest since this cycle began in January 2023. Okay, so up only? Up only? Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, I got to tell you, I think we're so back. I think we're so back. Why? Because of all the FUD that we're seeing and some bended knee. That's right, guys. Vanguard yesterday started to offer the Bitcoin ETFs to its clients. And as you can see, ETF volume 5.1 billion. People are telling us it's over? I don't know. Don't worry, Easy Logic. You're not late. You're right on time. Just going through the hopium and making fun of some nonsense stuff. All right. Yeah. I'm pleased with Vanguard. I mean, I don't really care in terms of whatever their TradFi, but hey, look, they bent the knee and they're getting rewarded, right? They did what the customers asked, and hey, the customer said, hey, you did what we wanted you to do, and we're rewarding you for it. Look at that, huh? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Okay. So let's go take a look at here what happened to Harvard. Take a look at what happened to poor Harvard, right? $57 billion endowment. They're crying so hard. They're down so bad. No, they're not. Okay. No, they're not at all. So Harvard's big wager on Bitcoin came right before the bust. Now, look, just for transparency about this, their Bitcoin holdings are slightly less than 1% of their entire endowment of $57 billion. Okay. Now, of course, you could use that as an argument and say, you see, they're not that bullish on it. However, the way I see it is that this is exactly the type of institution that can afford to hold Bitcoin in perpetuity. Now, we can say whatever we want, right, about giant institutions holding Bitcoin essentially. And I do agree with this idea that these institutions buying all these ETF shares, it's essentially a prison for Bitcoin. It's a TradFi prison for Bitcoin. I'm okay with that framing. I get it. You get exposure to the price, but you do not get you don't get exposure to any other of Bitcoin's qualities like the censorship resistance and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is a giant nothing burger. Like you think Harvard cares? They have what is it, like $1 billion in Bitcoin, maybe slightly less, $900 million, and all of a sudden we're pretending like this. Oh no, come on, Wall Street Journal. Was there ever a time where news outlets were able to get people to read their stories without a bunch of phony hype? I wonder. Joe. Let's see what Joe had to say here. This was a funny one. Prominent crypto people who think the cycle is over. Now look, You know, instead of just obviously bashing every single person down the list, I just want to point out that Layla had called out that the Bitcoin bull run had ended even before it started, right? We came back to like 69, 70K. She was ready to sit there and call it quits. I mean, look, I don't follow every single one of these people. I actually don't follow any of these accounts. And Chris is just a horrible shitcoiner. Chris Berneski. It's just like I've been trolling this guy for like 6-7 years. He has wrecked so many noobs. But look, it doesn't make a difference. The point is that nobody knows what they're actually talking about. Okay. I include myself in this. Okay. Because why? I'm a human. And oftentimes we get led by our emotions. We get led by our fears. We get led by our incentives. Oftentimes, as humans, we do mental gymnastics to try to prove to ourselves that what we think is accurate and we want to be right. Look, it's just the way it works. And it's okay, right? It's important to be knowledgeable about this stuff. Oh, let's see here. What's going on here? People say the cycle is over, basically basing this on the price. Yeah, exactly. Nobody. It's so funny. Yeah, exactly. The people on this list, man, this is just a whole bunch of noise. A whole bunch of noise. It really is. And it just goes to show that nobody knows. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Let's take a look at what's going on with MicroStrategy. So as we know, right, this MSCI group has put out this warning, right, about MicroStrategy. They're going to remove them from the index, and then of course you've got the S&P dance that's going on because it's coming up, right? That they're going to let I don't know how many companies into the S&P. So we're seeing all of this noise all over again, and for me, okay. Saylor's a businessman, obviously. He's going to do what it takes. That's what I would like to think. And we're seeing that he is. And so essentially what's happening is, people who sit there and pretend that they don't have to bend the knee, right? They don't have to kiss the ring. There is no club. There is a club, and we see it, okay? We see it happening all the time, okay? And when you're not in the club, okay, you don't get the benefits of the club. And Michael Saylor, right? Michael Saylor is now at this point, it's like, yeah, you may have all that Bitcoin, but you still want in the club. So you're going to do what it takes. And so right now he's finding out exactly what he's got to do to get in the club. Interesting take here from Josh Mandel. So these S&P issued a review, which strategy seems to be now clearly addressing in the most constructive, insightful way. That's right. He thought he could just, in my eyes, he thought that he could just create all of these vehicles, right? And it would just be like by force, they would have to let him in. That's not the way this works. Okay. That is not the way the fiat system works. It's the Cantillon effect, and the people closest to the money spigot still, even though Bitcoin exists, are the ones who still are the gatekeepers. Sorry, not sorry. That's the way it works. Anyways, the agency did not issue a rebuke of Bitcoin, but did express concerns about USD liquidity necessary to fund the prefs and run the business as a going concern. It's kind of sad when a pleb like me is saying the same stuff as these TradFi guys that have been essentially went to school for this and been doing this for like 40 years. Yeah, guess what? I know we don't want to believe it, but companies actually do need to bring in new revenue, even if the money's fake. I know. It's too bad, right? That's the way it works. Working together with the rating agencies is the solution to this conundrum. That's right. Kiss the ring. You got to bend the knee. Make them happy, right? Much preferable to those knee-jerk but funny quips like, have fun staying standard and pours. I don't know. I thought that was pretty clever. And I don't think it's wrong. I think it's funny. I do think it's pretty funny. Okay. Let's see here. The Bitcoin prison comment. That's right. Withdrawing Bitcoin from any exchange is easy. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. It's River's business. You know, of course, they're going to frame it this way. And it is true for the most part. Withdrawing from any exchange is easy until it isn't. But more Bitcoin is now held in investment vehicles where people can't move to self-custody if they're ready. And indeed, that does create an extra point of friction in taking custody. And of course, as we know, unless you are an authorized participant who is purchasing shares of the ETF, you have no way of redeeming those shares for in-kind Bitcoin, right? If you are just a retail investor and you're buying shares and you sell those shares, you are going to redeem those shares in USD. Anyways, that's right. It's a bird in a cage. They get the price, but not the freedom. And now look, to some people that doesn't matter. Some people, they think that that's all Bitcoin is, right? It's just price. And that's perfectly fine. Everybody has different experiences. But for me, who had been debanked many years ago, I appreciate NGU. However, I also really appreciate the unfuckwithable aspect of Bitcoin. Okay? So that's important to me. Very important to me. Yeah, exactly. French Hodl, going back to the MSTR stuff. His job is to get money into MSTR. Exactly right. Yeah, no masters, no misters. I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, exactly. That's the people who had Bitcoin on FTX. You know, and that's the thing, right? The exchanges are working great till they don't. Till they don't. You know, it's a scary feeling when you go, and this has not happened to me, thank God, but it is a scary feeling if you move your Bitcoin to an exchange and you go to sell it and you get blocked, or even worse, you send your Bitcoin to the exchange and instead all you get is a notification that the funds were rejected, and like now it's like in limbo. Anyways, it's okay. Nobody wants to go through that. All right, more good news. More good news. That's right. The CEP shareholders approved business combination with 21 Capital, and as of December 9th, they are going to start trading under the symbol XXI, which is 21. Right. This is the Cantor Equity Partners shell company merging with Jack Mahler's XXI Bitcoin vehicle. Right. They're going to be starting off with 43,000 Bitcoin, which is essentially very close to. I got to go back and check what Metaplanet has. But I think they're around the same thing too. You can kind of see what happened to their shares. Huh? They got kicked in the nuts, and they even have they even started doing the preferred notes. They're still getting kicked. So yeah. Anyways, shares are up on this CEP stock today, but whatever. Who cares? It's like up like 20% or something like that. I guess it makes some people happy. I am curious to see if he ends up bolting Strike onto this XXI vehicle and immediately being able to show, hey, look, guys, we've got revenue without diluting the shareholders. Look at us go. We're already amazing. We'll see. We'll see if he actually does that. Not 100% sure that they will, but I have been saying that I think it's the most logical thing for CEP to do. So, see if that actually ends up happening. All right. Let's take a look at some of the fail stuff. Guys, if you weren't here last cycle, then you probably didn't hear the whole you are the yield thing. Well, guess what? Here we are in 2025. People are still the yield. Not surprising. Shout out to Toxicat for this one, for tagging me on this one. Hacker stole 9 million from your Yearn Finance's ETH. Here's how it happened. They created almost unlimited ETH using a bug and drained the pool. This is the same shit over and over again. Okay, like shitcoiners are. It's like they're Alzheimer's patients just wandering around in the casino. They abused the vault function, update rate, burning ETH, 6 million lost from the vault. They sold only part of it. Should have sold it all, leaving most profits still on chain. Shitcoining is just not worth it. And again, right? It all works until it doesn't. But guess what? That is the use case. These things falling apart is the use case. The rug is the use case. Just imagine for a second. Kid sitting there, you know, the future, right? The future of your genetics right there. And you're thinking, how do I get this kid involved in the future of finance? You could teach them about self-custody, could teach them about Bitcoin, right? You could teach them about the importance of saving their value in Bitcoin over across time. Or hear me out. Why don't we just teach them to stay in the casino forever? And that is exactly what Binance wants to do. That's right, guys. That's right. Even a terrible song for it too. Yeah, it's great. It's all so good. That's good stuff, huh? You gotta love it. That's right, guys. Your kid can have their own little crypto Binance wallet. And you say to yourself, well, Phil, you know, they're not going to be allowed to shitcoin, are they? Right? Like, I mean, it's gambling. You're not going to be able to do that. But you see, when it comes to friction, right? The more layers of friction you remove, the less effort a person has to make to fall into a trap, right? So it's like, no, they don't need a, you know, possibly a signing device, right? Or their own wallet that doesn't include an exchange. No. They need the security of a centralized exchange, right? They need to be connected to Binance. This is awful. This is absolutely awful. I mean, and I said this yesterday. If you don't know you're in the casino, you will never try to leave. And that is exactly, to me, what's going on there. And yeah, let's take a look at some of the fine print from this whole thing. Huh? Let's take a look at that. So users who are under 13 or higher, depending on their location, will also be allowed to use the Binance Pay function to transact with other Binance Junior accounts and their parental account with daily limits applied. This is where it gets interesting. On-chain withdrawals, trading, and payment from Binance Junior accounts to non-parent adult users or merchants are restricted. So if you have a junior account to a parent adult user or merchant, then it's not restricted. So is this thing saying that kids can pretty much gamble with each other as long as there's a parental account tied to it? That is, anyways, my opinion, it's vague intentionally. It's vague on purpose. Obviously, they don't want you. Exactly. What is that is exactly right. What is this crap? That's exactly what I think as well. It is complete nonsense. It's total garbage. And I think that it sets an absolutely horrendous precedent. Okay. Yeah. Finance wallets. I'm afraid to see what happens to future generations that are just never going to leave the casino. They won't even know the casino exists. That is the best prison. You don't even know the walls exist. You can't see any of it. It's wild. It is absolutely crazy. Okay. All right. Let's switch some gears. All right. We're going to go to some more happier stuff. I'm sorry about that. We had to talk about it, but it's okay. We're going to switch to happier times. Let's take a look at what's going on in the UK. All right, got some funky stuff going on in the UK. UK formally recognizes crypto as property with new digital assets laws. Now, look, I don't really care because in the end, I don't care what the laws are in terms of this. Okay, you can download Bitcoin Core. You can go and buy a signing device. You can build your own seed signer, right? So, to me, self-custody, all that good stuff, it's already my property. Bitcoin is the bearer asset. And people just do not really, I shouldn't say people, but some people just have not internalized this. It is the bearer asset. So, let's take a look. With the approval of King Charles, digital assets will now be protected under property law rather than being left in a gray area shaped mostly by court rulings. And in all fairness, the courts were already ruling that this was property. So it's like they were already doing this, but now it's official. Okay, that's really the difference. So this gives digital assets a much clearer legal footing, especially for proving ownership or recovering tokens after fraud. The government also views the change as part of a broader effort to make Britain a hub for digital finance. Hey, look, in terms of the government, why not? I'll say that that's like a little bit of a win for them, you know? As long as it's with the, yeah, right? Z-Logic? I mean, man, we've got the king's approval here. We love kings, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, yeah, Bitcoin. Rules without rulers. To me, there is nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better. Guys, that's the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day. Oh, FF2K, what's up? How you doing, man? All right, guys, that's right. It's going to do it for us for today. Be back tomorrow. Got a whole lot more stuff to cover. I can give a bit of a teaser. We're going to dive into Corey. Anyways, Corey Clipstein has been sending me some very interesting stuff about what's going on in the Tether space. So we're gonna talk about that, right? We're gonna talk about what's going on in that, because even though Tether's playing the game very well, it doesn't mean that they aren't sketchy AF, right? Anyways, we're going to dive into that story tomorrow and a whole lot more, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow. Take it easy.